What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into our first news. Mike Perry is facing a shocking and potentially career-ending situation after what he describes as a massive financial disaster. Despite having one of the biggest years of his career in 2024, collecting huge paydays, and even launching his own fight promotion, Perry now says he might be forced into early retirement. On his Overdogs podcast and across social media, he revealed that he's been hit with an enormous tax bill of more than $800,000. Perry claims the entire mess started because of a major accounting mistake, saying his accountants completely dropped the ball when handling the earnings from his Jake Paul fight. Perry explained that the financial blow is so overwhelming that retiring might be his only option. In a mix of frustration and disbelief, he said, "I'm retiring though. I did it to go camping in the woods. They not letting me be rich. They were like, oh, you thought you was rich? Give us everything you have." And I was like, wow, now was the time I was supposed to have the money? Somebody dropped the ball. He went on to describe how his accountant told him, "Hey Mike, we just saw the Jake Paul money," which left Perry stunned. He questioned how they had just seen it when the money had been there for months, repeating again that somebody clearly dropped the ball. Perry said the situation has gotten so bad that he feels he owes everything to the government and is now considering extreme options. He talked about being ready to sell everything, pull all of his money out of the bank, and hide it. He even joked, half seriously, about going to prison for a little bit, or just disappearing off the grid entirely. It's a desperate moment for someone who seemed to be at the peak of his success just months ago. Whether he actually retires or finds a way out of this financial disaster remains to be seen. But Perry made it clear that the stress of this tax hit has completely flipped his world upside down. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel. Moving on to another news, Shavkat Rakhmonov provided a full update on his health issues and revealed the expected timeline for his UFC return. He explained that he had been dealing with a meniscus and ACL injury even before his fight with Ian Garry, because he hadn't prepared for such a long time and didn't want to miss the opportunity. He decided to fight anyway, fully aware of the risk. Shavkat said the injury didn't get worse during the fight. It was the same before and after, but the damage was still significant. At first, he tried to avoid surgery and hoped that proper rest and rehab would fix the issue. However, it wasn't enough, and he eventually had to undergo surgery. That forced him to stay out for a long stretch, and soon it will be a full year since he last competed. Now he says he feels good, he feels healthy, and he believes he'll be ready to return at the end of February or March. He remains optimistic and is already thinking about his comeback. Shavkat then went on Twitter to clarify a few of his comments from Ariel's show. He wrote, "No trash talk, just facts. Ian Garry lost to me while I was injured. He hasn't finished anyone in his last 6 fights, and Prates nearly stopped him. Doesn't sound like a #1 contender to me." Moving on to another news, Shavkat Rakhmonov has officially called out Islam Makhachev, and he did it during his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. Shavkat said he thought Islam delivered a great performance at UFC 322, but he wants to find out for himself whether Islam is truly that good or if JDM simply had an off night. Shavkat didn't hesitate to break it down. He said, "I believe Islam had a great performance, but I also want to find out for myself. Is it that JDM had such a bad performance, or Islam had such a good performance?" Shavkat explained that he considers himself a universal fighter, someone who can create problems anywhere the fight goes. He said he's confident he can make things difficult for Islam in every area, whether it's striking, grappling, or transitions. For him, this isn't just about chasing clout or stirring hype. It's about testing his own skill set against the lightweight champion and seeing how he measures up. Shavkat made it clear that he genuinely wants to know what happens when he steps in there with Islam. The curiosity, the competitive fire, and the belief in his own versatility all came through in his comments. He ended by saying he simply wants to discover the truth for himself and see what the result would be if the two ever collide. Moving on to another news. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has confirmed that the NYPD is officially investigating the chaotic brawl that erupted at UFC 322 inside Madison Square Garden. The incident unfolded before the main card when Dylan Dennis walked into the arena near Islam Makhachev's corner and immediately clashed with several members of the team. The confrontation escalated quickly, with UFC newcomer Magomed Chanka Zainov, also known as John Poor, getting involved along with others. Security rushed in, but the situation had already spiraled into a full-blown altercation that caught the attention of fans, media, and now law enforcement. Mayor Adams took to X to address the situation directly. He wrote, "These assaults at Madison Square Garden are completely unacceptable. The NYPD is already conducting a full investigation, and everyone responsible will be held accountable." His statement made it clear that the city isn't treating the incident as just another heated MMA moment. This is now a legal matter, and the authorities intend to determine exactly who was involved and what charges may follow. Ali Abdulaziz reacted almost instantly online. He tweeted, "At the notorious MMA, I thought you were gangsters, but now you guys call the police. Typical fake." His response added fuel to an already intense narrative, criticizing the opposing side for involving law enforcement at all. The fallout continues to grow, and with the NYPD now fully involved, this backstage chaos at UFC 322 has turned into one of the biggest post-event controversies in recent memory. Moving on to another news. Tony Ferguson says he'd beat Islam Makhachev in his prime, and he's sounding more confident than ever. Tony explains that, in his opinion, Islam was always one of the guys who had Khabib in the practice room, pushing him, learning from him, and working in the shadows. He compared their dynamic to the way Aljamain Sterling and Merab were together, where one guy shines while the other stays just a step behind, waiting for his moment. Tony said that when Aljo stepped away, Merab finally began to come into his own, and he believes the same thing happened with Islam once Khabib retired and stepped back from the spotlight. Tony also said he always thought Islam was the more conditioned athlete, someone who had the tools, but didn't fully step past Khabib out of respect. He emphasized that when it comes to your teacher, your coach, or the person guiding you, there are certain lines you don't cross. And he believes that's why Islam stayed in the shadows for so long. But once Khabib retired and focused more on his family, Islam finally had his moment to shine and show that he was his own athlete with his own path. Tony made it clear that he respects what Islam has accomplished, but he firmly believes that in his prime, he would have kicked Islam's ass. He said that at the end of the day, they're all athletes trying to leave something behind for the next generation, and he insists that 1 or 2 years training at Tony Ferguson's academy would make anyone better than the Dagestan wrestlers any day. He said it straight without hesitation. Tony also revealed that there are only 2 people he truly wants to fight, no matter where the fights take place: Conor and Khabib. He believes those matchups would sell tickets instantly, whether the result is good or bad, because the hype alone would be massive. According to Tony, that's what this sport is about: creating moments, building anticipation, and giving fans something unforgettable. He even added that if you put him and Khabib at the White House, you're guaranteed fireworks. Tony confidently claimed that fans would finally get the long-awaited Khabib versus Tony round 6, the matchup that the world still wishes had happened. He wants it, he believes the fans want it, and he says the story isn't finished until that chapter is rewritten. Moving on to another news, Chris Weidman opened up about why he had to pull out of his boxing match with Anderson Silva, a fight that had fans excited and hoping for a long-awaited striking showdown. Chris explained that he was originally scheduled to fight Silva on November 14th on the MVP card airing on Netflix, the same event featuring Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. But then the entire event was postponed to December 17th and shifted to a card headlined by Anthony Joshua. Chris adjusted, stayed dedicated, and kept training hard. He said he felt great, fully prepared, and believed boxing would be far easier on his body than MMA. Then, everything changed. He revealed that while throwing a left hook in training, he tore his bicep tendon. He described the moment as something that looked like nothing, but the damage was severe. The tear was 95% complete, leaving just a small portion of the tendon attached. And although he tried to rest it and push through the pain, it quickly became clear that he wouldn't be able to compete. Chris said that if the tendon had been completely torn, he probably could have fought after the inflammation went down and then had surgery afterward. But with that small portion still barely hanging on, the pain was intense every time he tried to ramp up his training. He explained that whenever he'd rest the arm and feel like things were improving, the moment he sped up his punches, the pain returned, and his arm became too weak to even hold up for defense. That's when he knew he had no real choice but to back out. Chris said it happened in the first minute of a sparring session with a professional boxer. He threw a hard left hook and his bicep immediately popped. He instantly knew something was wrong. He apologized to everyone who supported him and wanted to see the fight with Silva happen, and he truly hopes the matchup can be made in the future. He said the boxing training was going extremely well. He was enjoying every moment of it, and he'd actually fallen in love with the sport. Now he's focused on healing up, getting back to training as soon as possible, and hopefully running that fight back when the time is right. In the meantime, Chris said he's going to enjoy Thanksgiving, continue his TV work with the UFC, stay positive, and keep moving forward. He finished by saying he wanted to clear up the confusion about why Tyron Woodley is now fighting Anderson Silva instead of him, and he thanked everyone for the support. Moving on to another news. Shavkat Rakhmonov opened up about what comes next for him inside the UFC and accepted that he probably won't be fighting for the title next. He explained that a February or March return is simply too quick for Islam, who he believes will end up defending his belt around April or May. Shavkat said he would absolutely prefer a title fight next and is fully ready if Islam somehow becomes available. But he also understands the timing doesn't line up. He reminded everyone that he was originally supposed to fight for the title and had a legitimate reason for not taking that opportunity. And the UFC promised him a title shot in the future. Still, he said if he has to fight once more before that, he has no issue proving again that he is the rightful #1 contender. When asked who he wants if it's not a title shot, Shavkat admitted it's a tough question because the division is constantly shifting, but he sees 4 or 5 strong options on the table. He mentioned Pratis, Morales, Usman, and said Buckley has been calling him out for a while. He added that BDM could also be an option. He made it clear he isn't picky. Just give him a date, give him time to prepare, and he'll face anyone. Shavkat said the most intriguing matchup for him is Kamaru Usman, but he doesn't believe Usman will accept the fight, pointing out that Usman has turned down fights with him in the past. In the end, Shavkat said none of it really matters. There are plenty of good options, and all he wants is for the UFC to give him a fight that secures his #1 contender spot. Moving on to another news, Bisping is not impressed with Ilia's recent decisions, and he made that very clear on his Believe You Me podcast. Speaking openly, Bisping criticized Ilia for avoiding a fight with Arman and argued that the UFC should not even consider letting him move up to 170 for a super fight with Islam until he defends his lightweight belt. Bisping said this isn't an attack on Ilia, because he's actually a big fan. He thinks Ilia is cool, smooth, charismatic, and an incredible fighter. But that doesn't change the responsibility that comes with being champion. Bisping questioned where Ilia is right now and why he hasn't responded to the top contenders calling him out. He pointed out that Ilia previously said he would rather vacate the belt than defend it against Arman, which already raised eyebrows. And now, with all the noise around potential moves to welterweight, Bisping believes Ilia owes the division some clarity. He compared the situation to Ian Gary's call-out of Islam, where Ian said that being champion means defending against the best. Bisping believes that logic applies to Ilia as well. He continued by asking what Ilia's actual statement is at the moment. Is he saying he's willing to take on all challengers, or is he avoiding the hardest fights? Bisping reminded fans that Ilia became the featherweight champion, had to vacate that belt without ever defending, and now holds the lightweight title. To him, it makes no sense to immediately chase super fights without proving himself as the king of the division he currently rules. Bisping stressed that Ilia has to defend the lightweight belt before even thinking about moving up. According to him, the UFC shouldn't entertain any talks of a super fight between Ilia and Islam until Ilia defends his championship at least once. He said that earning the belt is one thing, but holding it with authority means facing those dangerous contenders, especially someone like Arman, who's been calling for that shot nonstop. In Bisping's eyes, that is the obligation of a real champion. Moving on to another news. Arman just went on Daniel Cormier's channel and dropped an absolute bombshell. A few days ago, Ilia posted that viral clip of him bumping into Arman backstage, placing his hand on Arman's neck in a playful but also subtly passive-aggressive way. Later, Ilia went online saying Arman didn't do anything in person and only talks on the internet. But now Arman has completely flipped the narrative. On DC's show, he revealed exactly what Ilia told him in that moment. According to Arman, Ilia straight up confirmed that their fight is next and that he will defend his lightweight belt against Arman as his first 155 title defense after knocking out Charles Oliveira. Suddenly, all the puzzle pieces fall into place. The UFC has been silent about Ilia's next move for weeks because they were waiting to see what Arman would do at UFC Qatar. And he delivered. He destroyed Dan Hooker, made a massive statement, and now everything lines up. According to Ilia himself, the UFC have confirmed that Ilia versus Arman is next for the lightweight belt, and the road to that fight just became crystal clear. The two are expected to meet in February 2026, set to headline one of Paramount's first major events. This matchup has been building for months, with both men taking shots at each other online, but this backstage interaction finally exposed what was really going on behind the scenes. Arman described the moment in detail. He said Ilia approached him, smiled, and said, "Brother, how are you? This is just media thing, this, that." Arman laughed it off, but then Ilia leaned in and told him, "Yeah, you're next." Arman replied, "Yes, finally." And the energy instantly shifted. Suddenly, everything that looked like tension, disrespect, or mind games in that viral clip took on a whole new meaning. Ilia wasn't trying to punk him. He was teasing the announcement that the UFC hadn't made public yet. Arman said he couldn't believe how surreal the moment felt, but it was exactly what both men and the fans wanted. This is the matchup the lightweight division has been waiting for. Arman's dominant win over Hooker, his rise through the rankings, and Ilia's knockout of Charles set the stage perfectly. The UFC needed a clear contender, and Arman proved he was the guy. Now, with Ilia confirming it backstage and repeating it publicly, the lightweight division finally has its next title fight locked in. Both fighters know what's at stake, and with February approaching, the hype is only going to get bigger. This is the showdown the fans have been demanding, and now it's officially on the way. Moving on to another news. Daniel Cormier is making it clear who he believes is the biggest threat to Ilia right now, and he says it's Arman without a doubt. Speaking on his show, Cormier explained that while he thinks Paddy has a bright future and brings a fun energy to the sport, the reality of the lightweight division looks very different at the top. In his view, the two best lightweights in the world at this moment are Islam, who is now the welterweight champion, and then Arman and Ilia battling for that #1 spot. And to Cormier, that isn't even up for debate anymore. He said Paddy stepping into the octagon after Ilia won the belt felt a little strange because beating Michael Chandler didn't justify that moment. Cormier felt like the UFC's bigger challenge would be trying to erase that image of Paddy standing next to the new champion. But then Arman fought last weekend, and everything changed again. Cormier pointed out how big and physically strong Arman is, how well-rounded he's become, and how dangerous his mix of wrestling and striking now looks. He highlighted Arman's top control as the real nightmare fact, saying it creates a level of pressure very few fighters can handle. Cormier didn't hesitate to say that this is the exact matchup Ilia fans should be nervous about. Because if there's anyone in the division who can come close to replicating the suffocating style Islam built his career on, even if not perfectly, it's Arman. He said Arman can wrestle at a high level. He can strike, he can push the pace, and he's not afraid to grind for every position. That's why Cormier believes Arman is the toughest stylistic matchup for Ilia in the entire division. In his eyes, this isn't hype, it's reality. And if Ilia ends up facing Arman, fans should expect a brutally tough test that could redefine the division. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for your daily dose of MMA news.